Welcome back to my channel. This is In China. Today I make this video for Chinese overseas students. Recently, my friends who are studying abroad start to hesitate whether they should go back to China after graduation, and if they do, what kind of job market they're gonna face with. So I looked up some data, checked some reports to give you some reference whether it is a good decision to go back home after you finish your overseas study. I still decided to make this video in English because you guys must speak English way better than I do, and for some English speakers who may watch this video, you will also find something interesting. Okay, first of all, I hope you are not that kind of people who would blame on foreign universities for not getting a good offer back in China. I saw a very stupid question on Zhihu which says, is it really that hard to get a good job in China as an overseas student from England? If you encounter with such a problem, you have to understand it is yourself that you have to blame on, not the university, not England, not any other country, just yourself. Because you are not good enough. You are not good enough, but expect people to think otherwise just because of your experience of overseas study. HR in big companies of China is really sharp now. If you don't have much specialties, you went to a moderate foreign university, then come back with average ability, of course you won't be so competitive on job market. So just remember, after all, it's all up to yourself. There's some reports on return of overseas students. Let's check some data firstly, know something about your competitors. Then I want to talk about one job which is really profitable and popular among overseas returnees. In 2017, China exported over 600,000 students to study abroad. Wow, that number is quite stunning. But the return rate was up to 79%. So guys, you're facing the third returnees tide. And another report released in 2018 showed that 46% of respondents made it very clear that they will return home to work after graduation. And 52% plan to return home after working abroad for a period of time and accumulating some experience. I can imagine reasons why some of you prefer to coming back. Cultural barriers in many aspects are not so easy to eliminate. So unless you're already doing a super great job abroad, or you have 100% confidence that foreign environment suits you better, there's nothing to be judged if you make your own decision to come back home, as long as you can live a happier life here. Assuming you're gonna come back to China after graduation, there are some other numbers. Young people under the age of 30 are the main force of the returnees, accounting for about 90% of the total, and nearly 80% of them have obtained a master's degree overseas. And 95% of returnees can find jobs within 6 months of returning home. That is nonsense. What kind of people cannot find a job within 6 months, right? And among them, more than 30% of returnees choose to work in the financial industry. That is not a surprise, with the largest number of business graduates. And most international students prefer to work in Guangzhou and Shenzhen. And besides, Hangzhou and Chengdu have also become very popular by international students. I didn't study abroad, and I chose to come to Guangzhou after graduation because I majored in English, and because Guangzhou is close to Hong Kong and there will be more working opportunities about international business, so I came here. But I'm a little surprised because I thought Shanghai would be the top one preference by overseas students. The next is what you care about the most, the salary. According to the report, there is a certain gap between the expected salary and the actual salary. 80% of overseas students expected annual salary of about 200,000 yuan. To be honest, that is not too much to ask for, right? But more than 60% of returnees get annual salary of less than 100,000 yuan. Is that true? My salary is higher than that. The average salary of returnees is equal to that of 85% of graduates in China. Of course, as I said, it is all up to yourself. The average salary of AI engineers ranges from 300,000 yuan to 600,000 yuan. So you see, that's the importance of major selection. Actually, I went to this company I'm currently working for in 2014, and at that time when there was a new person join us, and I heard people talking about he graduates from a university of the United States or of England, and I must have thought he must be so much better than I do. He must be so much more professional. But things are a little bit different now. There are several overseas students in our company, and they are not acting so different from we do, and we are getting similar salaries, so that is true, and we are getting used to it. The last thing I'm going to talk about is something very interesting I noticed when I checked information online. A lot of overseas students who graduated from some very nice universities, they come back to China and open up intermediary agencies for studying abroad. Some of them even give up up very well-paid jobs in foreign countries and come back home to take part in this industry. Why is that? The first reason, of course, the profit is super high. You guys must know well about the personal statement when you apply to study abroad. So I asked a teacher in such an agency, and he said 4,000 yuan to write one personal statement for students. But a friend of mine told me it cost him like just 3 hours to finish it by himself. So it is insane, right? By the way, the salary as a common employee in such an agency is also as high as like 50 to 20,000 yuan every month in Shanghai, not counting other income. Secondly, the market is really big. At present, there is a huge two-way information asymmetry in overseas study market. As Chinese parents and students, I don't know what kind of foreign schools I can go based on my own condition. I don't know well about each major and the development prospect. I'm not clear about the admission or criteria of foreign schools. On the other hand, for employers in China, there is also information asymmetry. The recruiters tend to blindly believe in the Ivy League and blindly despise other not-so-famous universities because they do not understand the real situation abroad. In this case, intermediary agencies can help to solve this problem. In China, there are too many people who want to study abroad to be gilded. They are no lack of money, but they don't want to spend much time to think and study how to figure it out by themselves. So naturally, they will become the commercial instruments exploited by the experienced and cunning people. I'm not saying that it's really a perfect choice for overseas returnees. If you have the starting fund, or if you have enough interest and enough research on this industry and market, it may worth a try. But if you just work as a common employee in such an agency, it sounds quite boring to me. But what do I know? I've lost my spirit of enterprise since I got married. As far as I'm concerned, if you are professional in sophisticated industries such as AI, or if you have strong attachment to domestic environment, or you can barely see any hope for further development if you stay abroad, those three kinds of overseas students have enough reasons to come back home. If I were you, I will make my plans and decisions even before I go abroad for study. Okay, that's it for today. A question for you. Do you make friends with Chinese overseas students in your country, or they just stick together as a group as I heard? Okay, looking forward to your comments. See you next time.